Paper Snob. This is Tara. Today I'm working on Scraplift Crafternoon. As you might have noticed, we took a break for the Sunday before Christmas, but we're back at it for today. We are scraplifting Jessica Walker. I will have her information listed below for you. Here is her beautiful layout that we are scraplifting this week, and I have kind of a mishmash of product on my desk. I started with Hip Kit's It's a New Day collection. It is a really old collection, and I'm not sure which collection it is. So I started it today, or I opened it up, and this is all I actually have left, is some of the embellishments as well as a piece of the pattern paper. And then I brought in the stamps. This is Tim Holtz Stampers Anonymous. This is the Spills and Splatters collection, and I brought it in for that coffee stain because she has a coffee stain on her layout. And then I went through and I printed a whole bunch of Equinox stuff from Tracy Reed Designs to finish out my pattern paper. And here's a couple scraps from the Hip Kit. I don't think I'm going to use those because I brought in these here, and then I brought in some of the patterned cards from Equinox, and I printed them all out. My printer is being ridiculous, so I've had some really weird bleed with these on some of the sheets, and I'm not sure why. Anyway, I'm going to pause. We're going to get started, and I will be right back. Alright, I grabbed my banner punch, and now I'm going to start cutting out the strips to make the banner pieces. I'm cutting them each 1.5 inches. The two paper scraps that are 12 inches long, I won't have to do anything with, but the scrap that isn't quite 12 inches long, I do end up cutting 2 of those and layering them a bit behind the photo so that I have the illusion that it's one full continuous piece. What you can do is actually cut a strip in half and go ahead and just place the top and the bottom above and below the photo to give that illusion, but I didn't do that. I was actually hanging out with my daughter while I was doing this video, so she's sitting next to me and we're chatting as I work, which means all of my brain power is not focused on what I'm doing, and you'll see that here in a minute because I lose my mind for a little bit. So I am going to be using these Tim Holtz stamps. This double coffee ring with the splatters was my main choice for this layout from this stamp set, but I also go ahead and use the other splattery set because I felt like there wasn't enough on there for my taste, so I just added another stamped image on it. Her rings on the original layout are much larger than mine, and I don't think I have a stamp or even a stencil with that wide of a coffee ring, so I'm just kind of making do with what I got and trying to make things how I like them as well. That is one of my rules with my layouts. I have to like it. If I don't like it, I won't finish it, or I'll start all over. So I'm using, I think that is Faded Jeans, the ink is, and it's just kind of a darker color, in between color of the blues in the papers that I have chosen. I am going to mat these 2 photos on this light blue cardstock from Hip Kit. It is a scrap that I had sitting nearby, and lo and behold, my trimmer does not like this paper. This trimmer is super picky about paper for whatever reason. So you will actually see me do something here in a minute that I say I never do, and I actually never do it. And that is to trim something by hand with scissors. And the reason I never do it is because it's never straight. So I am not going to try to make up for the ripped sections on the photo mat. I cover, I think, a couple of them up with embellishments, but I just decided it wasn't that big of a deal. So for my thought process on these colors is I wanted to get the darker blue on the left-hand side and then the light floral pattern or leafy pattern, I wanted to make sure that I got on the right hand side with the wood grain in the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and just start attaching these on here. And I'm going to go ahead and put adhesive on all of them. So I'm going to take this one, of course, is going to hang off the top. The wood grain in the middle will also hang off the top a little bit. I'm going to make this one flush with the top so I don't have to trim this piece. But the first two pieces are actually going to need to be trimmed so that this is how I decided to stagger them. So next up, I'm going to start matting this photo. I was just making sure that I knew where I wanted to place it. And at the top of the screen, you can see a stack of those cards that I showed you at the beginning of the video. I cut all of those cards out so that I could dig through them on camera and get the prints that I want. And I believe I choose 4 cards and I layer them up behind the photo mat, the photo that's matted as it is, in a manner that it just looks like there's a multicolor layered mat behind the main mat. And that, I don't know if that is what she did with hers, but I'm just trying to mimic it as best as I can and make sure that I get what I want on it. So I ended up pulling out the lighter corally peach print and trading it out for that dark yellow. The dark yellow is actually a honeycomb print. Like I said, I was having trouble printing, and it has nothing to do with the product that I was printing. My printer was being ridiculous, and so some of the prints are very, very well saturated, and some of them just aren't great, and you can't see the pattern. And that honeycomb print is actually one of those. For whatever reason, it just did not print well, but it's okay because I was using it for a mat anyway. So now I have my layered mat ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and trim off just a little bit more, and I think the next trimming that I do is where I go ahead and trim with my scissors. I think I need a new blade in the We Are Memory Keepers trimmer, and my Tim Holtz trimmer does not like the cardstock that I printed those patterned cards on. It shreds it every time. New blade, old blade, it doesn't matter. It just does not like that paper. So first I thought, well, she's got her journaling below the photos over here, and maybe I can use this little journaling bit from the Equinox collection to journal on, and I decide that it's not going to work for me. What I want to do is title this layout Totally Rad Science Experiment. I had thought that there was another title piece that I was going to use on that sticker sheet, and I guess either I don't remember or I put up the piece that I thought I was going to use. I mostly only have embellishments left from this hip kit, and so I've been trying to incorporate them with other collections, and some of these bits and pieces are actually going to end up in my next counterfeit kit with a thought process that hopefully I will use as many of them up as possible. Here's where I'm going to build the rest of my title, and this is where I decide, yeah, I'm going to have to put journaling above the photos rather than below like in the original layout, because I think it's going to be too much below. It's going to be too heavy underneath the photo, and it won't draw your eyes back up to the photos. And I like to always try to showcase my photos as much as possible. So because of my title placement, I decided to go ahead and put that journaling up on top and deviate a little bit from the original layout. So I used the uppercase font for the word science, and I'm using the lowercase font for the word experiment. These are puffy stickers, and again, this is a hip kit collection that I have mixed up with a Tracy Reed digital collection. That collection is called Equinox. I used it in one of my previous layouts recently in full for the Tracy Reed design team. I believe that layout went live yesterday. And so you should be able to view that on my channel. I did bring in some of the Equinox floral pieces. I printed a ton of those for yesterday's layout, and so I wanted to make sure I used a few more up. I know the colors of the flowers are a little different than what is in that floral pattern piece, but not really. They're just off by shades. Those colors are in that hip kit pattern, just different shades of it, and so I felt like it was fine to use the floral colors as it is. I am adding some of these puffy stickers. I did a heart, and I believe I go in and do another little heart over on the lower left, and then decide that I'm done. I did a trio of the dots from the sticker sheet right there above that right floral cluster, and I'm pretty happy with the way that this has turned out so far. I am clearing my space so that I can finish up. All right, I got this layout completely finished. I stayed fairly true to the original. I did leave off the tags because I wanted to showcase my banners a little bit more, and I moved my journaling up top because I felt like since I had such a long title that covered so much space, that it was a more balanced layout with it on top for how I did things. I also, of course, added floral clusters and some puffy stickers onto my layout to complete it. I want to thank you for coming to my channel today. I really appreciate those of you who take the time to like, comment, and or subscribe. You guys have helped me build this channel, and without you, I can't do it. Make sure you check out my description box below. There is a playlist and a link list of everybody's channels and Instagram accounts for you to check out. We have a couple of people who are only participating as time allows due to life circumstances. I think we're all participating there this week. So check that out, and you guys have a great rest of your Sunday. Bye.